Hello and welcome, everybody. This is the first lecture from our Astrology and Psychology of Health training. This session will be open to everyone, so that if you are wondering if this is the thing that you need or it would be useful for you, you can check it for yourself. So what I will do is I will introduce you to the curriculum. So what we are going to do in this academy, in this training, what is the material we will cover. But I want to make sure that even if you don't sign up for the whole training, you still get something valuable from this session. So I will walk you through the curriculum, but also I will share a piece of valuable information that's related to each of the modules that we will explore more in depth, of course, during the upcoming training. So it will be helpful and useful for you in every case, even if you are not ready to sign up for the training, for the complete training. You will still learn really interesting stuff today during this particular session. So let's get started. I will share my screen. Okay. Yeah, I think you should be able to see my screen, hopefully well. The academy is called Astrology and Psychology of Health. Today is like a general introduction so that you can get familiar what we will cover, what are we going to focus on. And before we do that, I want to share something which I think is important both for you as potential students or people who would like to explore this, and potentially if you would like to use this work with clients or for yourself or for other people. What is important to know that, first of all, I'm not a medical doctor, and the material, what we will cover in this training, cannot be a substitute for medical diagnosis or treatment or consultation or whatever needs to be done. The information is provided for educational and informational purposes, and it does not guarantee healing. With that being said, at the same time, we can learn really valuable things, and we can use them on our path to understanding better our own health, or trying to understand how we can support others also in their own health journey. The details about this upcoming training: it will include 20 live sessions on Zoom. They will cover 7 modules. I will walk you through the different modules. Each session will be recorded, and the recordings will be available for 6 months. So you can watch the recordings whenever you want, as many times as you want. I know that because of our schedule, because of time differences, some people will not be able to join live, and that's also totally fine. So you have immediate access to the recordings of each session. We have a website portal where every one of our students has their login information, their profile. And if you have already signed up for the training, you should already have this. If not, please contact us to figure this out. But on this website, first you will find the important information in terms of schedule or any announcements, and of course, the recordings of the sessions. Also, as a bonus, you will get the Bach Flowers and Astrology training. This is a pre-recorded training which includes 14 sessions, a more foundational part and a part which is more advanced or a masterclass part. And it's quite detailed. There is tons of information about how you can use Bach flowers in combination with astrology for working on different psychological and emotional issues. In terms of requirements, what do you need in order to be able to really get the benefits of this training? You do need to have a good foundation in astrology. So you need to understand signs, the concept about houses, aspects. This should be something familiar to you because we will not cover that. However, if you are a beginner or if you don't feel that confident in your level of knowledge or experience with astrology, there is an option also to get my natal astrology course, which includes more than 50 hours of lessons with many, many examples. You can watch the sessions whenever you want because you get immediate access to this part. So if you are really hungry for knowledge, I guess you can watch them within a week or so, but that's up to you. The point is that this is also available and you get a special price if you want to do this part. What else? About our schedule. So again, it will be announced in the member area on the website. Most likely our sessions will be on Sunday, 11 a.m. US Eastern Time. There will be occasional breaks. So sometimes we will just give a little time for processing or for self-exploration or practice. We will have also a break during August for sure. So I don't have like a concrete date, you know, like, oh, we should finish the training by this date, no matter what. I will actually try to feel the process and how it goes. So we will adapt according to the rhythm of the group and we'll see how it will go. But we will cover this material for sure. A little introduction. Who am I? What is my experience and my education also? My name is Marina Stoichkova. I honestly have many different trainings, certificates in many, many modalities, but here are some of the most important ones. I have a bachelor's degree in ecology, master's in biochemistry, master's in psychology, and master's in health management. I think you can tell that health and medical stuff and well-being are pretty important and interesting to me. Of course, I'm mostly, and first of all, of course, an astrologer. I have studied astrology for many, many years. I have 10-year experience in working with different modalities, but especially astrology. And I also have additional trainings in different coaching techniques, including Tony Robbins Academy. I'm a GSR specialist and expert pro. I will introduce you to this method and what you can do with it because it's extremely valuable. I'm also certified as an EFT specialist practitioner and matrix re-imprinting. I have trainings in Bach flower therapy and honestly, many, many other things. For example, Psychobiology is also something that I'm highly interested in. It explores the connection between physical symptoms and the psychological reason. So it's close to, or it includes German New Medicine, which is also something really interesting as an area of knowledge. So many things that I have learned, and I would like to combine the knowledge I have from those different areas so that we can have something more complete, something that can give you different perspectives about how you should approach or how you can approach things if you want better health, if you want to understand psychological reasons for different physical conditions, symptoms, diseases, and what you can work on, what you should work on. So extremely valuable. In terms of the astrology part, I will also share something personal. I have 5 planets in 6th house. So my Sun, Mercury, Neptune, Saturn, and Uranus, all of them are in 6th house. So literally half of my chart is there. And 6th house, as we will talk about it later during the training, is the main health house. So I don't think I need to give you any other proof that I'm highly interested in medicine, in health. And of course, this has been also part of my personal journey. That's not surprising as well. So here are the modules that we are going to explore together with you during this training. 7 modules. The first one is called Healing and Self-Help. The second one, Psychology of Life Experience. The third one is Foundations of Medical Astrology. The fourth module covers the body systems. The fifth one is about health and nutrition. The sixth one is about mental health. Probably my favorite one. And the seventh, the last one, is about feminine health and fertility. So I would like today to go through the main things that we will explore in each of those modules, what you will learn. And also I will give you, as I said, some insights or knowledge or information for each of the modules, so that again, at the end of this meeting or session, you will have already some benefits or knowledge that you can use. And meanwhile, if there are any questions about the training, or if you want to share anything, please write it in the chat, or later, for those who are watching the recording, you can always send me an email or text me on Telegram. So the first module, Healing and Self-Help. I was honestly thinking at the beginning, like, should we cover this as an introduction at the very beginning, or should I leave it for the end, or how should I structure this? But I decided that I would like you to have first some tools that you can use, so that you are familiar what can help you, how it can help you, what it will take, so that later when we explore the other modules, the material, so we talk about concrete symptoms, for example, or physical conditions, once that you find something as a possible direction, you will know what to do with it, or what you can try, what are your options. I also want to say something which I think is also very important. This type of work is not simple. So keep in mind that it requires exploration, patience, thinking, self-analysis. And it isn't, I'm not, giving such promises that, it will be extremely easy and it will happen on its own. And all you need to do is just show up for the sessions and, listen to me for an hour or two, and boom, it's all clear. The truth is that health astrology, medical astrology, and psychology are probably, I may say, one of the most complicated parts of astrology and overall, I think, in general. And yeah, it will require patience and work and openness to the process. But at the same time, especially if you have searched for answers, if you really want additional insights or help or a starting point or a guidance, you can find the training extremely valuable for you. Because sometimes, honestly, we don't need to have everything figured out. Actually, I'm not even sure if that's possible to have absolutely everything figured out, even when it comes to your birth chart. I can tell you that I have been practicing doing astrology for 10 years, not as a side hobby, not as something that I do occasionally twice a month or read a book every 3 months or so. I have been doing this daily. So astrology is my life. And I can tell you that up until now, there are things that are kind of like coming to the right place, or it's like a deeper and deeper understanding. So that also includes medical astrology. You can always go deeper. You can always explore more. And don't think that you need to be perfect in order to do this. You just need to be responsible. You need to be willing and open to do the process. And as I said, I think this is a really important piece of information, that sometimes one thing, one answer, or one clue can totally turn things around for you and can switch something or show you something or can totally change your perspective. So keep going, keep searching for the answers, and don't underestimate the role of, or the importance of, the little answers or little clues or directions. Because again, especially if you have been stuck, if you have many questions but not that many answers, you may find it, that's exactly what you need. Okay, so the first module, healing and self-help. In this module, we will talk about the important things in terms of our own perspective. If we want better health, if we want healing, if we want recovery, if we want to change things, if we want better psychological and emotional state and well-being. I will show you how you can use EFT. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. There are tons of resources online about EFT. the simplest thing is just go on YouTube, watch some of the videos. There are some really nice ones, but there are also books, of course. But I will show you also how you can use this technique and how it can help you, basically. It's very simple. You can learn it really fast. And it's not the most transformational and deepest technique you can use, but sometimes it could be enough. Sometimes it could be what you need. And I'm also using it, even though I have access to deeper, more transformational techniques like GSR. Sometimes I'm still using EFT as well, especially if I need to, for example, calm down for the moment or whatever, something which is more kind of on a superficial level. But many people use EFT for different cases, situations, and there are some really nice results. There are books also with studies. I will try to find, I have one book on my Kindle about studies that have been made in using EFT for different conditions, illnesses, and the results are pretty good. So we will talk about this method. Again, I will show you how you can use it. The Bach flowers, you are actually getting access to my training on Bach flowers and astrology as a bonus. 14 lessons, which again, you can use, you can watch right away. And they're really interesting. So we talk about the correlation between signs and planets, and particular Bach flower remedies. I'm explaining how you can do a mixture of the remedies, how you can use them. And especially in the master classes, there are some really deep stuff like acupuncture points and the Bach flowers and other things as well. So the training is really good. And the Bach flowers are also fantastic. I have been using them, I don't know how many years, maybe 9 years or something. And they're extremely gentle. They're extremely gentle. There are no side effects. And you can do the mixtures yourself again. All of that is explained in the training. And yeah, they are a great solution for psychological and emotional issues. And I will also introduce you to GSR. I want to clarify that it will not be a training in how to use GSR as a technique. I will just explain what are the possibilities that this method allows you or brings you. If you are interested, this is a separate training which is not done by me, but you can, again, sign up for it, watch the lessons. I believe the price is less than $200 for this training. Again, it's not done by me, and I'm not an affiliate, but it's just something I'm using in my practice. I'm a specialist and an expert pro in GSR, but you can learn to use the technique for yourself. Actually, first, you always need to use it for yourself. Even if you want eventually to become a specialist, we always start with ourselves first. But this is the deepest method which I have found so far. And it will sound, I know, too big to say, but I doubt that there is a deeper technique that exists, deeper and more powerful than GSR. It's something that works with your inner states, inner energy, with your subconsciousness, and transforms the energies, returns things to like how they were supposed to be without distortions that come from the family system. So I will explain again more about GSR, how exactly it works. But this is the deepest, most transformational method that we can use for different things, basically for all kinds of things, for solving problems, achieving goals, working on our resources, expanding, growing, basically for everything. I want to say a few things about this module and what is important to know. It's really important to know that every health condition, symptom, illness, problem has a deeper meaning. And actually, there is a fantastic book. I need to check how is the title, if the translation is accurate, because I think it's in German initially. But it goes something like that. The illness as a path. And I really believe that every illness or physical symptom or psychological symptom as well is showing us something. There is always a deeper meaning. I don't believe that we get some physical symptoms or illnesses randomly or out of nowhere. Yes, it's not always easy to understand what is the message, what is the point, where it comes from, of course. But it doesn't mean that those things are not there. I don't believe, again, that out of nowhere you can get sick from something. There is always a reason why you have a particular symptom or physical condition. Why this? Why exactly this? And why exactly now? Also, a very important thing to consider is that also every physical symptom has a self-protection purpose. And it comes as a way of adaptation. I know it may sound very strange, especially if you are more new to those stuff. It may seem very strange, but how a physical sickness can help me adapt when it's actually making it more difficult for me. But that's the deeper purpose. There is always something within you that your health condition or illness is helping you adapt to or is a response to. We call those conflicts or inner conflicts. And the disease is always a response to some kind of conflict. By conflict, I don't mean argument with another person, like a fight. Sometimes it could be, but not always. The conflict is like a problem, something that you need to adapt to. And sometimes when we can't process it psychologically, the energy gets to our physical body, and the body comes up with a response, with a way to adapt. So the health conditions, the symptoms, they are not there to torture us or, to make us suffer for no reason. There is always a reason. Here, be mindful also not to get into the other polarity, which may sound like, oh, it's my fault. oh, I must be doing something wrong because I have this or that. Guilt and blame are never constructive and helpful. So the same applies also to, for example, blaming our parents. Not constructive, not helpful. And the truth is that even if you have had a very difficult childhood with really bad experiences, you have had this because there is an energy within you that has needed to be expressed in this way. I know sometimes this information may sound like a shock, but, aren't we victims to, the bad parents, and it should be their fault that we are broken or we are failing or whatever, or we are traumatized? Well, there is a reason why you have chosen to be in this family, to have those experiences, and the energy is inside of you. It's not your fault. It doesn't mean that it's your fault and you should blame yourself. It just means that there is an energy within you it required you to get through some kind of experiences. So the more open-minded we are, the better. And again, not to be in this perspective like, oh, I'm horrible if I have certain sickness or disease. That's never helpful. But also, we shouldn't close our eyes and say that, oh, it's the outside world, the circumstances, the environment, my parents, this and that, and so on. Because if you think that it's not about you, but it's about the outside world, it means that the solution will also be there and not within you. So basically, if we escape or avoid taking responsibility and looking at things honestly, we are actually disempowering ourselves. If we are open to realize that, for example, let's say I want to avoid something, I want to hide from something, I want to hide from responsibility, and that's why, for example, I get those states or conditions. If you allow yourself to see it, then you can change it, you can do something about it. As long as we are avoiding the more unpleasant truths, the more disempowered we are, actually, ironically. So being open to the process, to also look deeper into yourself, or with a client if you're doing the work with a client. And again, no blame and no guilt. Okay. Moving on to the next module. The second module is called Psychology of Life Experiences. This is very interesting, and we will explore how events that we have been through, or processes or situations, are actually creating a template for us, and we keep kind of like replaying or re-experiencing something. There are two major parts that we will explore. The first one is called prenatal matrices. I will share with you a book on this topic, which is also fantastic, in terms of how circumstances around our birth can actually create a template for our life. Here, I want to clarify also something. Maybe it's better to say that, not that those events are actually creating the template, but that we can use them to explore what this template is. Let me explain what do I mean here. The same applies also to astrology and the planets and what they bring. The planets in your horoscope, they are not the ones that make something happen, but they can be used as guidance about what is actually happening. A very simple example is the way we use the watch or the clock. We use the clock in order to find out what time is it right now. But it doesn't mean that the clock is actually creating the time or defining it. We are just using it to measure. That's very important. The same is true for the planets in our horoscope. We are not saying that the planets are making something, are forcing you, or literally bring something, but they are like the clock. We can use them for the measurements, for understanding the processes of what is happening. What is this force or energy that defines things? I will leave this to you because I'm not ready to give an answer to this. But it would be something within the lines of God, creation, the universe, something beyond. But again, even if the planets are not the actual forces that make something, we can use them the way we use the clock. The same is true also for those experiences that we have been through. First of all, circumstances around our birth. It could be anything. It could be the family environment, the communication or the relationship between your parents, how your parents have found out that they will have you. For example, how the father has responded. What was the pregnancy like? What was the actual labor process? This is also, if not creating the template, at least we can say that it's like the clock. We can use it to understand, okay, what are the motives? What are, not motives, but like, what are the themes? So extremely helpful and also interesting, in my opinion. Here we will talk about the prenatal matrices, which were created by Stanislav Grof. Was he Poland or from Czech? No, I think he was a Czech psychiatrist. Yeah, very alternative, interesting person. He has made experiments with LSD, with other more alternative methods, including the holotropic breathing. But yeah, he is the one who presents this concept about prenatal matrices, and we will talk about those. Basically, there are 4 major types of prenatal matrices. We have the Neptune, the Saturn, the Mars, and the Uranus matrices. And I will explain what each of those matrices represent, what would be your life lesson if you have one of those. And we will also look at the chart. We will try to find indications that can guide you in terms of what prenatal matrices might be active in your case or client's case, of course. And overall, I will show you which are the main indications that can describe something important happening around your birth or within the first year of your life or potentially during the pregnancy of the mother, so that again, we would know what is the process and what is expected from us, what do we need to learn. The second point or the second part of this module about life cycles. very, very interesting also, and can be really insightful in terms of finding connections between major themes in our life. There are two ways to calculate cycles. One is more, I wouldn't say difficult, but more specific, let's say, more personalized. We will talk about it during the training. The other one I will share with you now because it's very simple and you can use it right away. It goes like this. You need to know the age, at what age certain disease has started. And then you need to divide the number by 2. So let's say somebody starts having issues, let's say when they are 20. The first thing we need to do is, of course, explore what has happened around this time. Let's say within 1 year, within the previous 1 year, because we may find, oh, there was this major stress that could be relevant to the condition or the disease. But especially if we can't find something significant or major, or even if we find it, it's still worth it to try calculating the cycles. We divide 20 by 2. So it means 10. So we need to explore what might have happened when the person was around 10 years old. We have a little range here, so it could be plus minus 1 year, let's say, or so. But you may find that the stress is somewhere back then. I mean, the stress that has initiated or that is somehow relevant to what you are experiencing right now. So this is also important to know, that the timing is really important. I mean, the timing when something begins, certain health condition, certain disease. And by calculating those cycles, we may also realize that, okay, but this isn't actually the deepest reason. There is something deeper that happened when I was 10 years old, for example. And we can even keep dividing by 2. So we can take the 10, at the age of 10, and divide it into 1 more time. So we can also explore, okay, what has happened also when the person was 5 years old. And that's, again, universal for everyone. That's one way to calculate those cycles. It doesn't mean that every time you will find something with those cycles, but sometimes you will. And it's worth it to make those simple calculations and explore it. There is, again, another method for calculating different type of life cycles, which we will explore during the training, because they are personalized. They are not like just divide by 2 and you are done. That applies to everyone. The other one is more specific, and everyone will have different, how to say that, different cycles, basically. But again, the point here is to find where is the root, or what are the common themes. Because, and that's actually the point of the whole training, to get to the bottom of the reason or the root of something. Because then you know what you need to work with. It's true, by the way, also, there are many examples of also people who recover as soon as they understand what is the deeper reason. So this is also, don't minimize this, that when something that has been subconscious becomes conscious for you, it changes. It doesn't affect you in the same way. So even realizing the reason or the possible direction sometimes can change things around for you. But even if it doesn't happen like this, even if it doesn't bring your immediate recovery, it's still extremely valuable because you know what do you need to work on. What could be the trauma, the experience, the memory that might be the initial trigger or the cause of something. And again, that's the major purpose of the whole training, to know where to look at, because then you can do something about it. While you are in the dark and you just say, well, this hurts, that hurts, I can't do this, or I feel like that, and I don't know what is going on, you can do inner work with that. Yes, you can probably take the medications, which is another thing. And I'm not saying you should not do that. That's completely different. But if you want to do this inner work and try to, fix the initial reason, you need to know. Without knowing, again, we are blind. So that's why I have included this part, because it's essential. In terms of astrology here, it's always helpful to check also your predictive situation, so to speak, at the time when certain health issue has started. This can also give you a clue of the energies that have been active in your chart that could be relevant, that are relevant to what is happening with you. So that's also important. Okay. The third module is called Foundations of Medical Astrology. This will be more extensive module, and here we are diving really deep into the astrology part. The previous two, they also include some astrology, but here we get really deep into astrology specifically. We will talk about the general principles, the general astrology principles of how we interpret the chart. We will start with foundations, like which body part correlates to a particular sign, what's the influence of every planet when it comes to our health. Also, what does it represent? And how, again, we can search for reasons or clues in terms of possible health issues. Keep in mind that there aren't like a cookbook interpretations in terms of, like different, let's say, health conditions. For example, what do I mean here? There isn't like a complete list of astrology indications that, for example, would bring what condition? Let's say some digestive problems. But we can explore which are the signs related to this, which are the planets, what is going on a physical level, how this might be presented in the astrology chart. So again, there will be lots of exploration. We will talk about concrete principles of medical astrology, basically. So how we do this, how we interpret, what do we need to consider? We will pay special attention to the houses. The houses are really important, the health houses. The most popular, well-known health house is 6th house, but it's not the only one. Actually, we have four major important health houses in the chart: 6th, 12th, and 2nd, 8th. And they describe our health in different ways. And also, depending on which house is triggered, the seriousness of the disease will also be different. For example, the sixth house illnesses are usually more chronic. Usually they are not so acute, they are not so intense or drastic. Of course, again, every situation is different, but generally speaking, the sixth house illnesses, they tend to be more chronic and something that may require some kind of, attention, treatment, and so on. The eighth house illnesses could be more sudden. They could be not so consistent, but they could be sudden or unexpected or more serious also, or in some cases more dangerous. So we will explore, this is also important, to find out, okay, which house is related to the health condition or is described by this. This will also give you important insights. And on what level could be the issue. First house is also relevant because it's about our physical body. So especially if there is something that changes the body or is related to some kind of physical trauma, first house can also be triggered because it's our body. Okay, moving on. The fourth module, we will look into the main body systems, and we will talk about signs, planets, generally also the psychological perspective, like how to approach things. And here I want to clarify that I will not, and unfortunately I cannot, include absolutely everything, because you know that actually doctors, they study medicine. Well, I guess it depends on the country, but here they study, I think, 6 years for general medicine, then I think at least 5 for specialty, and there's always more. So of course, I can't cover everything that exists related to every body system. But my purpose here is to show you the approach. So for example, let's say the immune system. What is the function of this, or what is the role of this system? Immune system. So it's about our protection. It's about defending our body from external, it could be toxins, it could be viruses, it could be different stuff. So we'll explore, okay, what would it mean, let's say, if someone has autoimmune diseases? So the fact that you are basically, the body gets the wrong responses or stimulus and is attacking itself. So what does it mean? Well, it could be guilt, it could be trying to destroy oneself, it could be, so that's the perspective. We'll explore what are the deeper reasons for that. And of course, the astrology indications that can guide us into this. For example, with the immune system, very often it could be Neptune. Neptune can make those things complicated, unclear. Sometimes, of course, with Pluto, there could be also such destructive tendencies, for example, the body attacking itself. Or let's say the allergies. What is the allergy? The body is responding to some kind of stimulus. It could be something in the environment, it could be food, I don't know. I guess people can be allergic to almost anything in the environment. So what does it mean to be allergic? It means that your body is treating let's say strawberries, you have an allergy to strawberries, it's seeing the strawberry as potentially dangerous. And it's like a wrong signal, because usually the strawberries are not really dangerous, but for whatever reason, for your body, it may sound like this. So we will explore this like general concept about the main body systems. What is the purpose? What could be the issues that can trigger, again, different symptoms or diseases? We will talk about some really common health conditions, but again, it will not be like, I don't know, medical university training. So I think that's clear, but also I want to make sure I'm saying it. But again, my purpose is to show you the approach, how you can think and try to explore something, even if we haven't covered it in the training, but to know, like to get, I guess this is like a Jupiter perspective or maybe a Uranus perspective. If you don't know the actual information, but to know the approach, okay, how to explore it, how to dig deeper and find the answers that you will need. So this part will be very important. The next module, Nutritional Astrology, also very interesting, very can be very helpful. We will explore which are the main indications in the chart, and I will tell you right away. The first one, when it comes to nutritional astrology, not shockingly, is the moon. Yes, your moon, the sign, the house position as well, but especially the aspects. This can show you on a certain level how open you are to basically nurturing, because food is what we need to live, obviously, and different issues with food, with digestion, can indicate also our ability to be nurtured, to accept, to connect to the external world. Because again, food is something that needs to be accepted and released. So there are also interesting psychological things that we can understand by exploring our relationship with food. That includes, from astrological perspective, the moon, as I said, and sixth house also. Second house could be relevant as well, because it's like the source of energy. Sixth house is also our diet. So we will explore this. We will talk about weight issues. What are the most common reasons for being overweight, being underweight? We will talk about eating disorders, also the most common astrology indications, the psychological reasons that we should explore as well. We shouldn't underestimate this. Again, food is essential, and our relationship to it can really tell us a lot about our ability to be nurtured and to communicate with the world, to connect with the world. All right. Then personal favorite of mine is the mental health module. I'm personally really interested in this. For me, mental health is everything. And I think it's becoming more and more important to address this in our modern world, in our, the way we live and all of that. So we will talk about some of the most common issues like depression or apathy or narcissistic tendencies or borderline personality, panic attacks, also personal favorite of mine, anxiety, OCD, bipolar, schizophrenia. Here, I will tell you that the most important role are playing the outer planets, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. And my opinion is that if someone is struggling with some kind of mental health issue, let me think of some kind of example. Okay, let's take the panic disorder. There could be many reasons. Of course, we need to explore the personal reasons of what is happening or what has happened. And there could be, again, many triggers that may cause anxiety or panic disorder. But we can also explore it from an astrology point of view. And we may find that, for example, let's say Uranus is the planet which is triggering the panic, or it could be Saturn, or it could be even Neptune or Pluto. And depending on our findings, we may understand what could be the energy behind this. Let me give you an example. Let's say that in some case we find that it's a Neptune problem. Let's say someone has Neptune in their 8th house squaring the sun, for example, and they have panic attacks. We need to explore here the ability of the person to sense things. Their panic, if it's triggered by Neptune, could be because they have extreme sensitivity and they're sensing things that they can't understand logically, and it may feel like the ego is under some kind of danger. So this could be a reason why people may have panic attacks, because they are sensing something that they can't understand logically, it doesn't make sense, and they can't even explain it. That's the thing with Neptune, you can't name it. It's like, I'm feeling something and I don't know what is going on. So if we find that, okay, you have a Neptune thing, then we know that we need to work with the sensitivity of the person, that we may need to help them to be more grounded, or to work on boundaries, or to find constructive ways to use the Neptune energy. That's just one piece of the puzzle. Of course, we need to do all of the work, like the whole chart, the prenatal matrices, the life cycles, and all of this is also applicable. But again, we know the direction. Let's take another person as an example, and they have, okay, let's say Pluto. Pluto can also trigger panic attacks. They have Pluto, let's say in their 12th house, squaring the moon. Could be, for some people, this could be panic, fear, and very intense levels of those negative emotions. In this case, we need to find, first of all, how it might be related to some kind of fear of losing control, or having too much resource that the person cannot process. And that leads to this, panics, because in this way we are kind of like getting rid of the resource. Or it could be some kind of past trauma or fear of dying. Or it could be a way to have some kind of control over our life subconsciously. Well, I'm having a panic attack, then I'm allowed, for example, not to pay attention to my husband. Making this up, but could be something like that. So there could be something hidden also. What are the secondary benefits? So yeah, we will look into the most common psychological and mental issues, the astrology indications, and also what could be the root, what could be the cause, or in what direction we should explore, we should search. Again, really favorite topic for me. One more thing about the mental health. I think it's kind of clear, but I will still say it. If someone is having psychotic episodes or condition or suicidal thoughts, those people should always work with professionals. We shouldn't underestimate or minimize the seriousness of those conditions. So be very mindful. With schizophrenia, with suicidal tendencies, those people should always work with trained professionals, because, yeah, I think it's clear that that's pretty serious. And the 7th module is about feminine energy, feminine health, and fertility. For women who would like to conceive or get pregnant, have a child, we will explore which are the indications, what do we need to be aware of. This is also a sensitive topic, especially if it's about consulting a woman that is already pregnant. Here, knowing how to present the information is extremely important. And actually, that's true for every other health case and situation. And probably I would try to incorporate this in some place of the training. I mean, to talk about if we are working with another person, like a client, like even it could be a close friend or family member, what are the main principles? Because it's one thing if you are discussing someone's, let's say, work opportunities. Usually, of course, for some people that's extremely important, but it's not like health. So, for example, finding out that this year is not really good for your work. Well, most people can handle this pretty well. Yes, it may not be pleasant. It may not be what they have hoped for, but it is what it is. But discussing someone's health is much more important, and people can be extremely sensitive. So we need to know how to do this work. We need to know, first of all, how to inform the client or to ask for their permission. I mean, if a client wants analysis of their chart in terms of health or a medical topic, what do we need to say first to them? Which is about getting their consent to be honest, their openness to hearing things that may not be all what they have hoped for or positive. And what do they really need and want? So I will see how to include this part because it's about consulting, basically. We'll see. Maybe it would be another session. I will think about this, but yeah. Anyway, that applies also to consulting or working with women who are pregnant or expecting to give birth really soon. How to present the information, what is important for them. What are, again, the astrology indications that may show us, for example, let's say that they need to be careful with how much rest they are taking or the levels of, work, all of that, and how to present it to the client. We will talk about feminine health overall. And again, the astrology indications, the deeper meaning, like the psychological meaning, what might be, the root cause of certain health issue related to feminine health in particular. And overall, how we can work on balancing the feminine energy, improving the feminine health, and all of this. So that's what I'm planning for our Astrology and Health Academy. If you have any questions, again, you may ask in the chat right now, or you can always send me an email or a message on Telegram. If somebody hasn't signed up for the training, or even if you're watching the recording later, you can sign up later and watch the recordings. That's also an option. As I said, some people will watch only recordings because of time differences or their schedule. So it's also totally fine. Let me see. Can you tell us the name of the author of the reference? The illness is a path. Right now I can't, because honestly I don't remember. I'm trying to see if I can find the book right now. And if I remember correctly, I think I had 2 copies of this book. But right now I can't see it. But I will try to find it. And I will share with you. Would you use the prenatal eclipse chart? This is an interesting technique. Yes, you can use and see also some themes. It's not part of the training, but it doesn't mean that the method is not helpful. Will there be a group forum or Facebook group where we can ask questions or have discussions through the class? Or will it be through Telegram? We will consider this. So for now, I don't know, but as soon as I figure it out, I will let you know. I think the most convenient way would be a Telegram group. Yeah. So it's a free app. Everyone can join, even if you don't have it. It's pretty useful. Are we getting copies of the slides? Yes, you will. I will put the presentations or the materials which are available together with the recordings of each session. Okay. Any other questions if you want to ask something? After 6 months, will we lose access to the materials? Are we able to download the videos? Interesting how you're phrasing your question. I'm just pointing this out. You are thinking about a loss. You are not thinking about getting something, that you will get the knowledge and you will have access to the recordings, but you are thinking about losing something. I may point out such things, by the way, during the training, and I hope you will take it as it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be helpful. The questions we ask and the way we ask them also matters. So maybe think about why you're thinking about a loss. You will have access to the materials for 6 months, and the videos are not downloadable, but you can watch them as many times as you want. I will tell you the reason why I'm doing this. I have so much experience with courses, trainings. Most of them have been online. And I know this for sure, that when there is a time limit, we are motivated to use the knowledge, to get through the knowledge. If you have endless access to something, you are more likely to postpone it. So there is a time frame. 6 months is a good time to process everything. Enormously fascinating and of interest. Hola from Mexico. Hola, hi. Thank you so much. You are welcome. Yeah, I'm glad you are taking this as a helpful thing. I'm referring to my point about the loss. One of the things which I would like also to do during this training is for all of us to try to be more mindful and to observe. And that starts with ourselves. So an example of this, like how we phrase things or what is our focus. Again, it's not coming out of nowhere. It's not a random thing. There is always a reason. And when you are open to this type of self-reflection, you can understand so many things about yourself. And then they are not in your blind zone, so you can do something about them. Okay.